Hi, I'm Amy.
I'm Laura.
And we are Two Paper Girls. Today we're going to do our April wrap up.
As you can tell, we've got another change of scenery. We're back at uni, have less books with us and things like that. Also, we pre-recorded some videos at home for while we've got exams and stuff on. So yeah, lots of changing about on where we are.
So let's get into it.
The first book I read in April was Hold Me Closer, The Tiny Cooper Story by David Levithan. I mentioned last month that I was going to be finishing this straight away, and I did because it was super quick. It was really good, but it kind of felt like it was missing something. I was expecting a bit more out of it, but that was probably my fault because it does say it's a musical in a novel, like it wasn't going to be any longer or have that much storyline, but it was still really good. It was clever because you had all Tiny Cooper's kind of director notes that kind of told a story in themselves. And yeah, it was really fun and really quick, but I hoped it would be a tiny bit better, but
Fun.
I would probably give this, I think, 3.5 to 4. It was good, but not as good as some of David Levithan's other books. Like every day.
The first book that I read in April was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I love the Mortal Instruments series, so I'm really excited to get into the Infernal Devices. I didn't like it as much as I was meant to, apparently.
No.
Everyone raves about this book and I didn't love it as much because I'm kind of in love with Jace and everyone's like, oh, you love William Herondale, and I just think he's like Jace, but English. I see no difference to him on it. Apart from that, he's a bit tiny more tortured, but I don't know why yet. And it's dragging out and I'm just like caring less and less, like tell me what's going on. But I still really enjoyed it, I read it. Harry and Tess are the same as well. They're both a bit annoying, but you both like them. I give it 3 stars, but I'm going to keep with the rest of the trilogy because it's going to be fab.
The next book play thing that I read this month was Three Sisters by Anton Chekhov, I think. Yeah, we had to read this for uni. I read it while I was on holiday, on the drive there and things. It was super boring. Just nothing happened. And it's a Russian play about 3 sisters, and I don't know if you can see, but these are the names. Like, they all have these crazy long Russian names, like first, middle name and surname. And in the play they would alternate if they were called by the first one or the last one, which if you were watching it wouldn't be too bad, but when you're reading it, I was so confused on who was who for a good like half of it. Yeah, it was okay. I don't know, 2 stars.
I read this one too and I also hated it. Definitely 2 stars as well. I watched the film adaptation and it just added nothing really. It was so boring, nothing happens. It's basically just about these 3 sisters who don't live in Moscow, who want to go back to Moscow.
Yeah.
And they get sad when they never go back to Moscow. And then it ends. It's don't bother. The third thing that I read in April was We Were Liars by Elot Carr. I love this book. It got me out of my Clockwork Angel slump, and I've got a review coming up for it, and I think I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed this. I would recommend it to anyone. It's kind of a summer book because it takes place every year in the summer. And I think it's really good.
Next book that I read a lot of in April is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. If you saw our March wrap up and TBR, you'll know that I was super pumped. It was in the biggest reading mood ever as I had a crazy TBR, and this book kind of slumped me. It's really big, really big, and it has tiny font. And I've read a good like 3/4 of it. I will finish it soon, and we are filming this a couple days early before the official end of the month, so hopefully we'll finish this real soon. But I am enjoying it. I think I'm just not loving it because it's my own fault. I left a good 1.5 years in between the second book and this one, so I kind of feel disconnected to the characters. I kind of didn't really care about them, which changed like the more I read. But yeah, it just slumped me because its size. I should have kept with the short and quick books, and I'd probably have about 6 books on this. But yeah, I will be finishing this soon, but this is kind of the last book I read.
The 4th book that I read in April was The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. This is a trilogy and I didn't really know about it, and it was alright. I've got a review coming up on it. I quite liked it, but it's very mixed. I'm very mixed about this book, as you'll see in the review. But I would definitely recommend it. It's kind of a dystopia. It is, but it's set like now. It's like an alternative world. It's really good, and I like the magic element of it, and like how it's a disease. It's really good. You should read it. I think I gave this book 3.5 stars in my review, but I have to check that. But it was not as good as We Were Liars, but still I really enjoyed it. The last thing that I read in April was England, England by Julian Barnes. We had to read this for our studying lit module. It was really weird.
Yeah.
It's so strange. Basically, it's about this entrepreneur called Jack Pittman, and he wants to create an England on the Isle of Wight. And he succeeds.
And it's like more popular than the normal England. And it's just, yeah, I haven't read it, but lecture on it already. And yeah, it sounds bizarre.
It's really weird, and it's basically so nationalistic. Is that even a word?
I think so.
It just is like so like English, and it's just hard to read because it's just so stereotypical. And it was all right. It was just so bizarre. I don't know how I feel about it. Reading it was pretty good though. I enjoyed it. It gets 3.5 stars because it's not quite a 4, but it was pretty good.
Just a quick side note, I've been going on about last month and this month reading both of these books for my course, but I've decided not to because basically exams are coming up, and yeah, I've decided which books I'm going to revise for the exam, and it's not these two. This one just because I didn't read it in time for the lecture, and I already have the ones I want to revise without distracting myself with learning this properly, and then this is just awful. Like, I think I'll watch the film just because, but I just can't bring myself to read it. It's just the dialect, the way it's written, it's so miserable, and I'm in a happy mood. I don't want miserable Scottish people on drugs, so yeah, I'm just not going to revise this one for my regional writers module and focus on the others. So yeah, that is why these are disappearing off my TBR.
So that was it for our April wrap up. We hope May will be a little bit better, but no it won't because we've got exams all in this month.
Yeah. Let us know down below what you've read this April, and hopefully you've really enjoyed what you've been reading, and we'll see you on the next video.
Bye!
Okay.
Fine. Aw, hold me closer, tiny dancer.